So hello everyone, welcome to Sunya IAS. Now this is the worksheet for the last lecture of your Modern Indian History Crash Course 2023. Now, I hope you have been watching the Crash Course series which Sunya IAS has come up with for the 2023 examination. But if you in case you haven't started it yet and you have by chance got directly on this sheet, make sure to watch all the series of this 10-part series of crash course for modern Indian history. Now, in this topic, we are going to discuss about the final phase of Indian mass struggle for independence and some question also on partition, independence, and Constituent Assembly, which was formed in December 1946. So let's begin with the very first question. With reference to Indian history, the members of the Constituent Assembly from the provinces were directly elected by the people of uh, provinces, assembly directly elected by the people of those provinces, nominated by the Indian National Congress and the Muslim League, elected by the Provincial Legislative Assembly, selected by the government for their expertise in the constitutional matter. Now, which one is true? That has to be answered. Now, first of all, one needs to know to answer this question that the Indian Constituent Assembly was formed as per the recommendation of the Cabinet Mission, which came in 1946, mid of 1946, and based on the recommendation in December 1946, this body was formed. The idea was that based on the elections which took place in 1946 for the provincial legislative assembly, provincial legislative assemblies, and then the member of these legislative assemblies acted as the electoral college and sent the members. So, were they directly elected by the people of these provinces? No. Nominated by the Indian National Congress and Muslim League? This is wrong. The nomination was done for the Executive Council, which was formed in September 1946. Viceroy's Executive Council. Elected by the Provincial Legislative Assembly? This is true. Selected by the government? This is wrong. So the answer is C. C. Next question. Which of the following was not a feature of Quit India movement? Presence of communal clashes. Movement was led by Gandhi. Low-key response from princely state. Erosion of loyalty to the British governments of its own officers. Now, first of all, communal clashes actually took place in 1942 and 43 during the Quit India movement. That's a reality. Already the Hindu-Muslim divide was very much visible after 1937, or one can actually say after 1939, after the 28th months of Congress government. You will see that Muslim League went on to declare in December 1939 the day of deliverance. They celebrated the day of deliverance, and subsequently you will see that the divide between Hindus and Muslims was quite visible, mostly in the northern part of Indian subcontinent. So presence of communal clashes was there. The question has been not a feature. Now, second one, movement was led by Gandhi. This is also true. It was Gandhi who planned the whole movement and decided that on August 8th the movement will start. Although he was arrested beforehand, but from within the jail itself, you can consider that he was leading the movement. There was low-key response from the princely state. Now, this statement is actually wrong, because one needs to know that while the response or the support in the princely states for the other previous two movements, for example, the non-cooperation movement and civil disobedience movement, was lesser, but by the time of Quit India movement, you will see that Praja Parishads were very active in the provinces too, and so low key response from princely states was not at all a reason. So that you can deduce. Erosion of loyalty to the British government of its own officers, that actually happened on an extensive level. All the natives who were working for the British government actually started questioning their loyalty for the British government. You will see after 1943, not even a single Englishman was recruited in ICS. So by the time 1947, all the Englishmen who were working on senior bureaucracy level were either selected from the previous batches, but in the recent times it was all natives, and natives within the government also had a dislike for the British government. So this statement is also right. The only statement which is wrong is the third one, and therefore again the answer is C statement. Question number 3, consider the following statement regarding the Cripps Mission. It provided for the representation of provinces through elected members and princely states through nominated members. It gave the right of secession to provinces. It provided for an immediate transfer of power to India as a dominion state. Now, Cripps Mission was led by Stafford Cripps, who was a part of the interim war cabinet of Winston Churchill, and it was on the suggestion, and one can say on the emphasis of United States of America and the Franklin as Roosevelt himself, that Cripps Mission was sent to India. And you will see that they were talking about surely about making a constituent assembly. Okay, they were also talking about the provincial participation and the participation of the princely states. But one thing they were sure is that they, during the war time, they are not going to do any type of transfer of power. Okay, so that is something which Congress wanted to happen, and that was not there. So third option is wrong surely. And the moment you reject third option, you will get the answer, which is A. First and second is the answer. Surely the Cripps movement provided for the representation of provinces through elected members and princely states through nominated members, and it gave the right of secession to provinces. Okay, so both 1 and 2. Question number 4, which of the following were the cause of famine of 1943? So the Great Bengal Famine of 1943 is very important for you, because there have been two such incidences. First one was in 1770, and that was also because of the inefficiency and misappropriation of budgeting and other lackluster behavior of the British government or the British East India Company in India. But this time the British Crown and the British government itself was directly involved, and it was the half-hearted and ill-behaved responses of Winston Churchill and his government itself which led to the Great Bengal Famine becoming so desperate and severe in India. So diversion of foodstuff for the army, this was surely done. Actually, the food grains were actually taken from Rangoon, and instead of bringing it to Chittagong and Calcutta, they were taken to European dockyards, hoping for as stockpile, that if in case something happens to the Europeans. Meanwhile, the Indians were dying. Rice imports from Burma and South-East Asia was also stopped. Now, this was done with the idea of scorched earth policy. It was a reality that Japanese might have taken over Bengal, and the Britishers wanted to make sure that if in case the Japanese enter in Bengal, they cannot use Bengal anymore as a base to further give foundation to their entry in India. And so they themselves made sure that all the infrastructure which was available, right from the presence of water wells to the godowns, everything was burned down. Even the boats of the people were seized, so no transportation was available. In this series of action only, they made sure that all the rice which could have been easily brought from Burma and Southeast Asia to Bengal was also stopped. Okay, deliberate profit making. Obviously, in such conditions, people are there who will do anything to make profit, and there were profiteers in this place also. So 1, 2 and 3, all 3 are correct. D is the answer here. Question number 5, consider the following statements regarding the Rajgopalachari formula. Now I hope everyone knows C. Rajgopalachari. Okay, while being out of Congress, okay, when he first suggested that if there are some Muslim leaders who are demanding some part of truncated Pakistan, some system could be evolved. He had to face such a vigilant opposition that he had to leave the Congress from the primary membership itself. And those circumstances, he didn't participated in the Quit India movement. Under these conditions, he was free and not in jail. And you will see in the year of 1943 and 44, he was able to craft the formula which is famously called as C. Rajgopalachari formula. And when Gandhi ji came out of jail in 1944, the Gandhi Jinnah talks of 1944 actually took place regarding the terms of C. Rajgopalachari formula only. Now what he suggested? He suggested that if in case some kind of division has to take place, for that purpose plebiscite should be conducted in the Muslim majority areas of the northwest and northeast. And even in the worst of the cases, if any of the provinces go to the extent of saying that they want to be with the majority support to be divided, then to be separated from India, then under those circumstances also they should go and do another treaty with the central government where communication, defense, and finances, okay, should be for finances should be handled for by the central union government only. Okay, so that first statement is right. It was accepted. The C. Rajagopalachari formula was accepted by V. Savarkar but condemned by Gandhi ji. This statement is actually wrong because Gandhi ji was someone who accepted C. Rajagopalachari formula and took it to have a talk with Jinnah. Jinnah rejected it, and so it was rejected by V. Savarkar also. So okay, the second statement is wrong. Okay, out of this you will see that only first option A is correct. Okay, now consider the following statement regarding the Wavell plan. Caste, Hindus and Muslims were to have representation in all the executive council according to the population. The council was to act as an interim government. Governor General was made to bound by the advice of the ministers. Now, the whole story behind Wavell plan or the Shimla conference of 1945, June 1945, was because Winston Churchill, after the May 8th victory over Nazi Germany, was looking towards alternative or options so that he can show the British population that he has also resolved the issue in India, and before going to the July 1945 election. So he was looking that somehow he can show a native-led executive council in India which can be portrayed for the British population. And so he instructed Lord Wavell to form such a cabinet, and under these circumstances he called for the Shimla conference where he recommended or he came up with the Wavell plan. As per the Wavell plan, it was decided the caste Hindus, that is the Hindus which are other than the depressed classes, okay, they will, and Muslim community will have representation in the executive council according to equality, equal number, and not as per their population merit, okay, population weightage. So first statement is wrong. Okay, the council was to act as interim government. This statement is right. This also happened in September 1946. You will see such a government was formed and it acted as interim government till August 1947. Okay, August 1947. So second statement is right. Governor General was made bound by the advice of the minister. This was not, they were not able to get this deal, although Congress and Muslim League both wanted this to happen. But somehow you will see that Wavell as well as Mountbatten, unless and until something related to security of minorities or some extreme financial steps was there, was kind of accepting the opinion and ideas prescribed by the native members. So although the third statement you have to mark it wrong only the two only option is correct. So B is the answer. Okay, now let's move forward. Consider the following statement regarding the Mountbatten plan proposed of dominion status to the Congress. Now you need to understand Mountbatten plan is also called as the 3rd June plan because it was declared through All India Radio broadcast on 3rd June 1947. So Congress accepted the proposal since it was in line with the Lahore resolution. No, it was not in line with the Lahore resolution. First of all, one needs to know, because Pune Swaraj was for the whole of British India and also for they were talking about the princely state. They were not talking about a truncated India. So the first statement is wrong. Congress accepted the proposal because it was more important for the Congress to assume authority to check the explosive situation prevalent then. This is actually a correct statement. One need to understand that after first accepting and later rejecting the cabinet mission, Muhammad Ali Jinnah on declared in June 1946 itself that on August 16th, 1946, he will call for a direct action. And the violence or the stream of violence which started from August 16, 1946 went on and kind of engulfed whole of North Indian subcontinent. Okay, so the violence started in first Bengal, then Bihar, and subsequently by March 1947 even in Punjab. So to make sure that this condition should be stopped, this condition is taken care of, it was much more essential the rioting should stop. For this, the Indian leadership wanted to take control of the regime in their hand, and therefore they accepted the 3rd June plan. So the second statement is right. The proposal was in the interest of Britain. Now, this is something which is obviously was in their favor because they wanted to left India as soon as possible because they were in a financial doldrum. They didn't want to stay anymore in India because that would have created a lot of difficulties for them, financials wise. So 2 and 3 both are correct. Again, you will see that B option is correct answer over here. Now, Next question: which of the following were major components of the land reforms in independent India? So after independence, Congress went on to implement wherever possible, at whatever level, all the land settlement idea it has propounded during the freedom struggle, right from fast for agrarian reform recommendation to some of the recommendation which was made in Karachi Resolution of 1931. Okay, so the abolition of intermediaries, that was done. Tenancy reform, that was also done up to certain extent, not in totality. Fixing ceilings on land holdings, that was also done. Every state, even in India right now, has this ceiling land holding described for it. Consolidation of land holding, this happened a decade later. It started somewhere in late 1950s, actually 1959, but it was done post independence. So you can actually mark all the 4 answers to be correct. D is the answer over here. Okay, so this was all for this session. I hope this would have made some sense and would have given you some idea about the kind of questions which UPSC is going to ask in the prelims examination. I hope you are preparing well enough, and since it was the last lecture, so make sure that you finish off all other topics and give same amount of focus as you have given on modern history to ancient and medieval history. Okay, for any other issues, any other queries, you can see the contact details are on the screen, as well as you can approach to the web portal of Sunya IAS. Thank you, and that will be all for now. Have a nice day.